Five, four, three, two, one. Hello and welcome to 4,000 and counting. I'm Watty. This is Mark, and today we are joined by friend of the show, Mr. Neil Francis. Franny, we appreciate you taking time out of what can only be a hectic week for you fellas ahead of the playoff finals.
It's good to chat to you boys, you know that.
Well, let's start with saying congratulations by coming through a very, very tricky tie against an in-form Coventry Blaze team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough one. It was Coventry in this last couple of months have probably been the form side in the league, and we knew it was going to be really tough. And we didn't expect what we were going to get on Saturday night. We put in a really complete performance right the way through our lineup. From Bouncy, all four lines were going.
Lights out, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. He had a great weekend and showed the Bouncy of old, and that's what we needed. And all the other guys, to a man, we put on a performance, and we did the majority of that work on that Saturday night.
Well, like I was saying to you off air, I actually paid for a stream. I can't believe it. And I had a choice of streams. All the games started at 7, and I thought, you know what, the tie of the round for me is going to be Blaze v Devils. And do you know what made the money worth it? Not only did you boys perform, but we had a Waller from was it Waller from Davis and Duggan, or Waller from it was a Brit
Duggan and Davis, yeah.
Whatever way it was Brit by Brit by Brit, and I was like, yeah, sign me up for that shit in the playoffs. That was money well spent right there.
Yeah, Walls has come up with a few big ones lately, and he's got that quick shot, and it was a good goal. But yeah, like you say, Benny Davis and Duggan had games too.
Yeah.
That play Duggan made for Josh Britton too on that.
Yeah.
He threaded it through just for a tap in there for Britzy. And Benny Davis literally had come from a hospital where his wife had given birth to their son.
Oh, congratulations, Benny boy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that was Friday night. So he's back at the hospital Saturday morning, then onto the bus up to Coventry, and then puts in a performance like that. So
his missus loves the boys, I know.
Yeah. Oh, I
Were you nervous?
Oh no, I was going to say Benny Davis, he was going to get dad strength this weekend.
Yes.
So I think that helped him. He had his best face-off performance of the year, so maybe dad strength kicked in.
You had the no. Let's take Mark's question first. Were you boys nervous?
Not nervous. No, I think ever since we were out of the reckoning for the league, we've been itching to get going on playoffs. To start over again. I mean, we know as a collective that we underachieved in the league this year. We don't feel we're a fourth place team. Our head-to-heads against the other top sides in the league have been good. And we've just been inconsistent, which is the word that keeps on being spoken about our season, and we have. We've underachieved, and there's nothing you can do about what's gone in the past. You can only learn from it, and then go at the next competition in place, and that's the playoffs. And the boys have been itching to go for a few weeks now, and I think that showed on Saturday night.
Hell of a performance Saturday. Because that Blaze team, no joke. They are no joke. And no, you boys made them look very ordinary on Saturday.
Yeah, Coventry, all year they've worked hard and they do not stop. And even when we were those 4 goals up and then it became 5-1, right at the end they get a power play, and Boundy made some unreal stops to keep that 4-goal margin. And then they came in the next night, they didn't quit at being 5-1 down, and they gave us a bit of a scare then. And they were pretty relentless. It probably looks like that we tried to defend the lead, but we didn't. We wanted to get that 1 goal that probably would have seen us through. But they're a tough wagon when they go in, and they made us work for it. And it did go to the end, and we get that empty net to seal the win.
Was it? I take it would have been sold out in Cardiff, was it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's been sold out pretty much since September. Like all our crowds have been sold out. It's been fantastic. Fans have been there in numbers. And another great atmosphere in Cardiff, and that playoff game, it does raise the intensity levels that much. And obviously Coventry had to go all or nothing, all out, and they brought it to us, so it made for another good game.
How much can you boys take from that? The fact that they did come at you and you saw it through and you got it done.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a togetherness from it. I mean, it was a great bus ride home on the Saturday night. You just get that buzz where everybody feels that they've achieved, and everybody was in it together. And the fact that it was right the way through the lineup, all everybody contributing, there was just that nice buzz on the bus on the way home and around the rink the next day. I thought we actually started the game on Sunday a little bit nervously,
Okay.
um, which was interesting. Do you think with a 4 goal cushion it would be quite relaxed? But I felt, yeah, we looked a little bit kind of apprehensive on that, and that's something that obviously we need to iron out for the weekend going into the Sheffield game. But once it got into battle mode, we have got some big battlers in our team, and we kind of soaked up a lot of pressure from Coventry to get the job done.
It must have been tough going in, especially the first game. I believe Coventry scored first. So was that a bit
Yep.
of like was that sort of like needed to sort of kickstart? Because then you went on a bit of a rampage after that goal.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been that great when teams have scored first against us this year, and we've just come back up. The week before we played Coventry in it was a fairly meaningless game in terms of, league positions and everything because Coventry couldn't get past us. But we were 4-0 down in that, and we got 2 late goals to to make it a bit more respectable. But the fact was they outplayed us in that game, and it was more like a 4-0 game rather than a 4-2 game. So, that was fresh in our minds. We had to take some big learnings from that game and come up with something different, and we did that. We worked on a few things on how we could break them down, and we had to improve our neutral zone a lot because we felt that's where they kind of dominated the game on that previous week. And then we go a goal down, which was a bit against the run of play because I felt we started well. We
Yeah.
had a lot of energy, a lot of big hits going in, and that one's a bit against the run of play. They get a kind of a single guy breaking down. He pulls a nice move, gets a goal. And that was a test of character for us, really, because at 1 goal down, having had a bad performance the week before, you could easily see how a team would sort of crumble on that. But to be fair to the boys, they just went straight back at them, and then when we got that one, we just kind of dominated. I felt from there on in.
Moving away from the playoffs, going back to the league form, you touched on it pretty much yourself. Fourth isn't good enough for you boys. So
No.
what do you think kind of went wrong over the course of the season? Is it just purely that consistency against those lower end teams, or was there any other like major factors?
Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, when you look back at the results, it was games that we dominated early on and we didn't put away. Recently we played 2 home games. I think Manchester was one of them. We ended up losing 2-1. We outshoot them in the first period 19-3, and we only come out of that period 1 up. And that's got to be 2 or 3, from 19 shots, got to be 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
And they hung around, and then they tie it up and they get a late winner. And it's things like that were quite typical. Um, I felt our first line has been lights out all year with Sanford, Cox, and Joey Martin. But that we lacked the secondary scoring, and we did have that with Jake Kugler had 11 goals in 14 games, and then he gets a bad injury and misses 2 or 3 months. And obviously took a bit of time to get himself back up to speed when he came back from that. So that hurt us. We lost Sam Jardine at the same time as well. So there's 2 big players were down
Yeah.
for that period, and that's not making any excuses from injuries because other people have got to step up. And I think some contributions that we haven't been as good as those guys would have wanted, or we will have wanted as a team. And those things combined meant that we didn't put teams away when we had the chance, and those things come back to bite you.
Are you and Brody having like one-on-ones with guys and being like brutally honest because they're my favorite coaches? Do you know, like, I don't know, maybe your winger's not tying up on a draw or whatever,
Yep.
just little lazy things. Are you bringing those boys in and being like, right, enough's a fucking enough. You're here to work, and that means doing all the little shitty things, or are you kind of more like laid back and as a team collective?
No, it's very honest. Brody is very honest with his feedback in players. There's no sugarcoating it. Nothing is ever done in a malicious way. It's all constructive, and the mantra is it's for the betterment of the team.
Yeah.
So if guys need to see, them make some pretty poor mistakes or lose battles and sometimes that will be in front of their teammates in terms of the team video. That I mean, they have video every day. There's so much video available now. But then also there'll be the one-on-one meetings as well. And that's not just when players are doing something bad. That's when they do something
Yeah.
good, because you got to have that positive reinforcement too. And I do think that that Brody's got a good balance on that. That he's not afraid to have those tough conversations with people. But at the same time, he also knows when the guy is lacking in confidence. And as a sportsman yourself, you know that confidence is everything. And sometimes you can't go hammer and tongs at a player if you know that they're feeling a bit fragile, and you've got to
Yeah.
kind of build them back up a bit. And he's got all those tools, and he does a good job of that. And like I said, the one-on-one videos, they can be very, very honest, but they can be used either to show mistakes or to sort of to reinforce when the player did something really well and what the outcome was.
I love that they've got it broken down so much now.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible the amount of video. I mean, the videos are the games that are filmed anyway, and there's a company called Instat that break it
Yeah.
all down for you. So by the very next day, every team in the league has the video of their previous game broken down, and you can access all other teams. So you do your pre-scouts off that. We
Oh,
actually,
perfect.
yeah, we
Nice.
film our games as well, and we have our own analysts sort of cutting games in live as well, so we can get it mid-period, pretty much for home games. And sometimes we'll do that on the road as
Have
well.
you got
So
the old iPads on the bench, Franny?
yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
If
I,
I'd have told you when you were fucking in a face cage playing like Rage and Devils, one day there's going to be a geezer stood behind you, with a fucking electronic pad that's going, you just fucked that up.
yeah,
Do you want to see your turnover at the blue? Do you want to see the toe pick? You'd be like, come on, guy. Like, how
yeah.
bad is that?
Do you know what? We don't actually, well, we don't very often use it like that. If the players use it as a self-evaluation tool, so
Yeah.
there's certain players that like that kind of immediate feedback. So they'll reach behind, grab the iPad, skip it back a little bit and watch their previous shift. They'll see where the breakdown was. If they were on for a goal, some guys will grab it. Other guys don't want that. Other
Yeah.
guys, they know what happened and they want to get on with it. And I mean, I heard, I can't remember what coach it was in the NHL saying he's not a fan of that kind of having the iPad on the bench and the players. He just wants them to concentrate and focus on the game and and focus on the next shift rather than dwell on the previous shift. But it's horses for courses, and some players like that feedback and being able to see what went wrong, and other players just want to kind of get back out there and do their own thing.
Especially if it's like a PP and I don't know, you've had 3 good power plays but no goal, and you're just this far away. You go, right, I see where his fucking stick is in that lane. I'm just going to pull back a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more. Bang, one timer on the tape, and that's a goal. And then by looking at that iPad, that you just taking that extra little step might have been the reason.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing they're looking at. They're looking at, what is open that they're not seeing when they're out there, because, obviously everything's happening pretty quick. So they're looking for those little sort of marginal gains that they can make their adjustments and sniff out opportunities.
Yeah, you good?
yeah.
No,
Sorry.
sorry. I thought you was going to say something. No, we're going to have Mark. I can't give you a Heimlich from here, mate.
No, you're all right.
Don't choke. Yeah, so we've touched a little bit on the Brits. Obviously, you boys are well represented at GB. I'm going to just slide across to GB for a little bit. With it being a home world championships, with the opportunity to get back to the top table, would you have that squad that was announced as favourites?
I think so, yeah. I would. Being at home with the home support and the home comforts as well. I think that helps a lot, because the travel does disrupt you when you're away at the tournaments. I mean, you've been to plenty of tournaments, and everything is strange, isn't it, when you go there, from the food to the just the kind of
Just a
culture
pillow,
and
like everything.
yeah,
Like, it's
anything,
just
yeah,
yeah,
anything
it
like
could be
that.
anything.
But so we're at home, and that's great, and they'll be used to playing in the NIC. Had some warm-up games there, and I think as well that we are a team that have competed in Pool A for a
Yeah,
number of years, and we've done well.
yeah, really
We've
well.
kind of earned the respect in Pool A, and everybody is itching to go back up. And the thing that GB team goes on is the togetherness of the boys. They're all like brothers when they're there, and Yeah, I think we've got a good shot, and yeah, we should put there as favourites and embrace
Would you
that
say
as
the
well.
expectation? Would you say the expectations are stronger this year, given how well sort of we performed in Pool A, in Group A? Sorry.
Yeah, it's I mean the expectation. I think we should kind of embrace the expectation that
Yeah.
we should go back up. Let's be the favourites and own it. Play with that confidence and bit of swagger. I think that the guys should go out with and know that we can be that best nation out there. And I think it's
Um,
two teams that go up, isn't it, as well?
it is
So
two teams that go up,
Yeah.
yeah,
and they've said that Russia and Belarus are still not coming back, so it's not going to stop teams going up because that was the worry that
yeah,
they were going to come back, just slot straight in there. We'd have this tournament win, and then it'd be like, have fun in fucking Div 1A again next year. But two teams will go up. The Russians and the Belarusians aren't coming back as of yet. So I'm all for it. And this is going to be a question I'm going to ask you now, and then I'm going to ask you again when we talk about Sheffield. How much is the Jono Phillips last hurrah as captain for GB at home? How much that get the boys going?
I think a guy like Jonna, he's got respect from every single player that's ever played in this league. And everyone is well aware that it's his last season, it's his last sort of swan song here. So his boys are going to go out and they're going to go to bat for him, aren't they? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's he holds that GB team together and has done for a number of years. Same with the Sheffield Steelers as well, and no doubt that that's a factor with him and Connolly going into their last games for Sheffield. I mean that's something that will help raise the sort of Sheffield spirits this weekend. But we've got enough of our own sort of internal motivation to go right back at them.
And
Who
looking at your head-to-head there, what was it? What, 4-4?
it was just before we jump on. This is something me and Mark have talked about. Haven't really had many on from the Elite League recently, so not really asked the question. Who would be your next GB captain?
Oh, really good question. Really good question. Oh God.
Sorry, mate. I could have gave you a little
Yeah, I
text
was
and a
gonna
heads up
say,
about that.
yeah, you got me on the hop. I mean, um if you're gonna go with an import, I really like Critchlow's character.
Yeah,
If you like one of the sort of reclass guys, but you probably as a GB team, I'd like to see them stick with a British guy.
me too.
So I mean, Richie is obviously a candidate as well. Does it
Yeah,
for us, and has been around and got the respect as well. I mean, who's the other assistants then? I'm trying to think now.
I'm not sure, but and it's hard, right? Because Richie's the natural choice,
Yep,
but he's obviously one of the older guys as well.
yep.
We saw Jono get the job 11 years ago and keep it. Do we go younger? Do you put the pressure on Kirky's shoulders if he wants it, or do you go kind of in the middle and do you grab a Dowdy?
Yeah,
That's
Like,
who I'll go with.
it. The thing with Jono is, you knew he was going to be in the GB squad every year.
yeah,
You knew, like, oh, we got a GB tournament. Jono's in the team, so it needs to kind of be a guy like that who's one of the coaching staff's like first names down on the sheet, and for the foreseeable, I wouldn't like to see us go new captain this year, new captain in 2 years, new captain in a year, and like go from one captain in 11, 12 years to 4 or 5 in the next 6.
yeah. I agree with that. I think continuity is everything, isn't it? And having the same guy that knows what it takes to get the boys together and and rally the troops. So yeah, I would agree with that. That it would be nice to get somebody that's kind of mid GB career, wouldn't it? That is going to sort of hold that sea for the next sort of 4 to 5 years.
Especially if they've been involved in these last 3, 4 years, being involved in that top table, they will be able to bring so much experience. And like, no disrespect to any of the players they're playing against, but they're not fucking Patrick Kane. They're not
Yeah,
Jack. They're not Jack Hughes.
yeah.
Like they're not playing against those guys. To come from playing against Team Sweden and stuff like that, America, to who we're playing at home, we should definitely be favourites.
Yeah. I mean, this is a tournament that we're the favourites at, and we're the ones that can go out and kind of dictate games. Where those Pool A games has always been, we're going to have to withstand so much pressure and maybe hit them on the counter punch. So it's definitely a different kind of tournament for the GB boys this year.
Mark, sorry, do you want to go on with a 4-on-4?
Yeah, so we're actually looking at the head-to-head throughout the season. I believe it's 4 wins and 2 losses in the league and 2 losses in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't do well in that Challenge Cup matchup. Bad performance in that first game, and then the second game then that was in Cardiff, we spent the night kind of just gambling to try and get some goals back, and just kept on getting hit on the counter punch. In the league, it was it was a little bit different. We started out the very first game of the season was up in Sheffield, and we won that one, won the away game, and we finished our regular season against Cardiff in against Sheffield in Cardiff, and we won that one. But that was kind of they didn't have Greenfield in net, and
He's
it was
good.
yeah, he's good. He's been great throughout the year, and it's incredible to see that he started every game apart from that last game against
One
us.
game.
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, and
Yeah,
you think about it, he was brought in as their number two as well. They had the
that's
Finnish guy.
true. Yeah.
He was their number one. Got injured. I think it was a bizarre injury in warm up in Coventry for one of the preseason games, where I think he was stretching and he I think something like he was stretching around and he caught his hand on the door and ripped a tendon or something
Oh
wild like
shit.
that. Yeah, yeah. It was something bizarre, and he was out, and Greenfield got to play and just took hold of it and ran with it.
Fair play.
Speaking of second goalies, we'll come back to like the overall head to head. Looking at Kuzon's stats, he's third in the league behind Besko and Greenfield. 21 games played, I think it was. We talked about the other day.
Yeah.
His numbers are lights out.
Yeah, his save percent was second to Besko, and obviously Besko came in halfway through the year. For most of the year he was going sort of head to head with Greenfield on the percentage, and then Greenfield just dropped off a bit in the last few games. But yeah, I mean, Cozy has done everything that we wanted of him, and it's a tough shout to say who starts games now, and it's tended to go on who's in form, and we were kind of rotating guys, and the goalies themselves said that they wanted that if they were playing well, they wanted to go into a little bit of a run, and they accepted that if it wasn't them and it was their partner that was kind of getting the starts, then so be it. They'd be patient and wait for their opportunity. And it has gone back and forth like that. And Cozy had a really good run, just around Christmas time. I think, we had 11 games and maybe 10 wins. It was our best run of the season. And then he kind of had a few games that he'd want a few back, and then Bouncy went in and took it. And Bouncy's had the sort of run I'd say lately, and proved his worth again this weekend in Coventry.
Is that a one? Obviously, you've got to make some shit coaches decisions when you're a coach. Is a playoff semi or a final when the goalies have been split in time pretty much all year? Is that the toughest decision on the day?
It it is, and I'd say that I think it mind fucked Danny Stewart a bit this weekend, because I felt that that Mikko Reyna that they brought
Legit.
in, he was, he came in, and again he was doing really well. In that game where we played Coventry with a week to go of the season, they gave Holzer the start, and I think it was just to kind of to rest up Reyna and not to show their hand against us. And then Holster goes in and he was unbelievable. We like I say, we got two late goals on him, but up until that point, he looked unstoppable. And I think that played into Danny's thought this weekend, and he started Holster on the Saturday, and obviously he concedes five. And to be fair to Holster, there wasn't much he could do about it. He didn't play badly, one bit. But then when you see Rayner goes in the next night, and he didn't let any goals in. We had an empty net goal against him. It's horrible to be in that position when you're in a coach where you've got one thing set in your mind, and then somebody puts a spanner in the works. So it's one of those. If it comes off, whatever decision, then great. If it doesn't, then you beat yourself up about it. But that's what coaches and managers are there for, is to make the big calls.
That's a fucking big one. Right, Mark. Here you go.
Yeah, that must work.
Let's
That's a good
Sorry.
that's a good one, because you've got two class netminders there. That must be a line. There must be a healthy competitive relationship between the two. The fact that you've got two starters basically.
Yeah, it's more the way that it's going. I mean, back with Boundy's last time with us, he used to play like I don't know, 80 odd games for us and the GB games. One year he played 100 games, which is ridiculous. I think he probably played the most games of any pro goalie in the world. 100 games is just stupid, and
It's like
you
a
can't
baseball
expect.
season, not a hockey season.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and you can't expect to get you can't expect to get the best out of your goalies if he's playing so much. There's going to be mental tiredness, there's going to be physical tiredness. So we brought in last year. We had two legit goalies, and Kozum was one of them, and felt he did enough to earn it to come back to us this year. And bringing Bouncy back, it was a nice sort of battle for those two, and they get on really well. They're supportive of each other, which is what you want as well. There's respectful competition between them. Of course, they want to play every game, but there's no kind of moping around when the other gets a start. They're supportive of them and wishing them the very best.
So I don't even know what the word is for it, but you boys are going for 4 in a row. How much
We'll
does
go with four, Pete.
I'll go with a 4-peat? Let's go with a 4-peat. So you boys are going for the 4-peat. How much are you going to draw on not only last year's success, the prior successes, and the fact that this is round about the point, not too long ago, where Brody kind of jumped in, and then you boys went on this run. You went into the playoffs, you won the playoffs. Big, good karma from you guys doing in the playoff time all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's wild, isn't it, that we didn't win the playoffs for 19 years and then we've won 3 in a row. So it's just crazy how it's kind of come around. But it really affect how we go into the weekend. Yes, there's some guys that have won it and they've got the experience, and that's always nice. But you also know that it puts a target on our back. Belfast are desperate to win it. They haven't won it in a while, and they obviously want to do the treble or whatever it is. But then Sheffield want to do it for Jonna and for Connolly, and they haven't had the season that they wanted, and Nottingham certainly haven't had the season that they wanted. It's in their home building, so they've got a bit of home ice advantage as well. So there's 4 good teams there, and it's I think the matchups are really good. All the games against Sheffield and Cardiff are great, and we've had some great ding dongs in cup finals and playoffs in years gone by. So yeah, it's great having those 3 behind us in the last 3 years, and we're desperate to make that a 4th as well. And it's the best thing that I can take from being around our camp over the last couple of weeks is the excitement level to get back out into meaningful competition when that league was over for us.
Nothing more meaningful than this. The Elite League they shot themselves in the foot last year. I've had Luke Fisher on, we talked about it, ticket pricing, and then obviously Todd came out and made a really good statement at the start of the year, kind of lay some things to bed. They've come out with much better prices this year. I think with the teams that are there, we have the potential to be as close to a sellout as possible. If you haven't already got your tickets, guys, get your tickets right now. But how cool is it going to be going back there when it's rammed and it's everybody's fans, everyone's fancy dress, everyone's having a good time, few pints in, few cocktails. It's just such a good place to play.
Yeah, it's those things. It's one of those things, isn't it, that everyone says about our playoff series is so short, and when the imports come over here, they can't believe that's it for playoffs, and then they play in that final 4 weekend, and then they go, okay, now I see what it's all about, and it's hard to take that away. And when you do see fans of 10 teams around that league, and they join in with, they get their favorite team for the weekend, don't they, and join in with their support. And normally it's everybody against Sheffield, and
Yeah.
and then I'm sure that we're not going to get any love from Giants fans in that Sheffield game. And it kind of happens. They teams buddy up with each other, but it's just such an incredible atmosphere. And weirdly, last year, even though it was half empty, we still got a really good atmosphere. We had the Devils fans were behind our bench, which was
That
nice.
helps.
And it felt like it was full. And I don't know whether that's because we are so focused on what was going on, in front of us, but it felt like it was full. And the celebrations after felt like it was full because, when you win it, half the crowd leaves anyway. And we had that celebrations on the ice with our fans, and it was incredible. But I'd love for the guys to experience that in front of a packed house this weekend.
Right. One more question before we let you go. Talk us, well, it's not really a question, more of a kind of statement. Talk us through the rest of the week and talk us through getting up to Nottingham, where you guys don't give away exactly where you're going to stay, but you guys are going to stay local. Are you going to have like pre-game skates and they're like leaders into the weekend?
Yeah, so this week there'll be a theme every day in practice. We've looked at Sheffield and their tendencies, and we'll be working on our D zone, on our forecheck, on neutral zone, obviously power play, penalty kill as well. And power play has been a massive Achilles heel of ours this year. It's been, it's got to a state now where we're almost mind fucked by it, to be honest. That we've got some incredible
Stick Batchy up front. Go on,
Yeah.
whack a goal in there, Batchy boy.
Yeah, flunk Batchy on Lou in front. Yeah, it's it's so weird. We do so much work on it, and we try so many different things, and it's almost become a mental thing now. However, we've always got that feeling that once we pot one, we could pot three in a game. So we're not going to stop believing in it and write it off for the season. We're always trying new sort of things, and on the weekend in Coventry, even though we didn't pot one, we had some really good chances. We hit the bar. There was some sort of goal line scramble. So it got everything but that power play goal. So, we'll keep the belief going, and hopefully it can just, blow into life this weekend. But yeah, going back to the question, I mean, that's the plan for practice this week, is to take a theme every day. We have video on that particular area and look at Sheffield and how they do things and how we're going to go against it. And we'll sort of complement that with video of ourselves doing that system that we're going to look to counter Sheffield with. And then we'll be traveling up on Friday, sort of early afternoon, get up to the hotel. So I think it's the league hotel that they have. So it will be us and Belfast will be staying in that hotel. Nottingham and Sheffield stay local.
Yeah.
So they get to keep it, stay in their own beds. And then we might go down for a pre-game skate on the Saturday. There's ice available, so teams can or cannot decide not to take that. With a later game, so I think we'll probably get the guys up, have a little bit of a kind of either a walk or a skate to get their feet moving, and do a bit of last minute sort of video, just the final sort of bullets to stick in your head. Get our pre-game in us, and guys will have their pre-game naps and be ready to go for game time.
Awesome. Franny, this has been great. Wish you the best of luck, mate. I will see you at the weekend. Hopefully we'll grab you for a chat in person. It's been a pleasure chatting to you as always. I wish you boys a good game, because this is what this for me as a neutral this weekend. I just want to see 3 good games of hockey.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it's a showcase for our league, isn't it? And we want to have the best performances on the ice, and we want them to be ding dong battles rather than any blowouts. And I think with the matchups we got, I don't think we will see blowouts. I think there'll be tight games across the board, and each team is going to go in there with belief that they can win it. It's 2 games away from a championships, and that kind of seeing that end in sight, it means everyone's going to be bringing their very best.
The biggest driving factors is so you don't have to play in a fucking 3rd and 4th on Sunday morning.
Yeah,
nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
I do not want to see that game. I do not want to see that game.
Nobody wants to see that game. Like players, and I have fans.
Yeah,
sorry,
and I have thought of my GB captain, by the way.
Go on, who you got?
Yeah, I just had to refresh myself on the roster. I think Ollie Bettridge would be a great shout.
Ooh. Nice, a bit of a left field action. Yeah,
the right age, but the right personality as well. He's a really good guy and well respected. So maybe that's one for post Jonna.
There we go. Right, Franny, this has been awesome. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like, share, comment, helps out on the algorithms. We will be seeing you at Nottingham Playoff Finals this weekend. Tune in for more content. Peace.